Everyone say feedback. Some of you don't want to say feedback. This reminds you of a difficult HR meeting last month when you got some feedback that you weren't asking for. Feedback is so helpful. Feedback is a great tool of how you can challenge well. When you offer feedback and seek feedback. When you offer feedback and seek feedback. One more time. When you offer feedback and seek feedback. The best families, the best teams, they're offering feedback, but they're also filled with teammates who seek feedback. And this is challenging for me. This is something that we talk about, that I would grow and continue to grow in seeking it out, not waiting for Kelly to just give me feedback. But man, wouldn't it be amazing, don't respond to this right now, Kelly, but wouldn't it be amazing if John would grow to the level of seeking it out, say, hey, maybe there's something in my calendar once a month to remind me, Kelly, would you offer me some feedback? And so we got to think about feedback. We got to embrace feedback if you want to grow. Feedback is so important. You use it in the corporate space, but why not in the home space? We've got people, this is their entire job in the corporate space. Some of you lead all kinds of things, and yet your best leadership is staying at work. Oh, I just step on somebody's toes? Our best leadership is staying at the office. We need to bring it home. We're not clocking out when we walk in the door. And man, I'm preaching to myself. This is so important for us to enter the home saying, now is when I'm going to continue to lead. And feedback is one of those ways. It's so helpful. It brings healthy and helpful challenge. So feedback, it's something that many resist. I want to help you kind of reframe feedback a little bit. And so I want to reframe it in a few ways. The first way is this: feedback is a mirror. If you're taking notes, write that down. Feedback is a mirror. Say that with me. Feedback is a mirror. I love to get my hair cut. I do. I've got a great barber. Been going to him for a while, praying that I can lead him to Jesus one day. Been inviting him to church for many years. Hasn't come yet. That's all right. I love him. He's great at what he does. And so I get excited about getting my hair cut, sit in the chair. And after he's done fading me up, this is called a fade. Don't know if you know this, it's called a fade. After he's done fading me up, he does this thing where he grabs a mirror and he walks around behind me and he holds up that mirror so I can look in that mirror and this mirror. And he says, what do you think? I'm like, oh, it looks so good. And what he's doing in that moment with the mirror is he's revealing my blind spots. Have you heard of blind spots, church? Show of hands, how many of you have a blind spot? Okay, the rest of you are deceived. You're just on, you just are. We all have blind spots. If you have a pulse, you have a blind spot. This doesn't make you a bad person. It just makes you a human being. And what feedback is, it's like the barber walking around behind you from someone that cares enough to also challenge you enough to say, hey, you probably don't see this because it's a blind spot. This is what feedback is. It's a mirror. Proverbs 27 says this: wounds from a friend can be trusted. So when a friend loves you enough to give you feedback, at first pass, it feels like a wound, because feedback sometimes is hurtful, but it's helpful. So wounds from a friend can be trusted. They're giving you feedback because they love you. They're not out to get you. They're out to grow you. They're out to help you get better. And so feedback is a mirror. Ephesians 4 says we will speak the truth in love. So important as you're offering feedback and you're learning how to challenge, don't forget the care component as well. We're going to offer this feedback from a place of love. Think about it this way: feedback without love is harsh. Feedback without truth is hollow. And so this is a really important thing for our families and for our key relationships. Hold up a mirror. Feedback is a mirror. Feedback is also a whetstone. It's a whetstone. I know you didn't know it was spelled that way. Some of you really want to say it out loud, so let's just say it out loud, right? It is a how do we do it? It's fun. It's a whetstone. So it's a whetstone. What is a whetstone? This is what a whetstone is. You know what a whetstone is. This is how you keep the knives in your drawers sharp, right? So you're sharpening that blade. I hunt, so I have a hunting knife. Sharpen it with a whetstone. Our fishing trip every year, I sharpen the fillet knife so I can fillet those fish for us. That was for you, Tommy. And so that whetstone is so important. How many would like to stay sharp? Anybody? This is one of the mantras for our staff. This is how we lead our staff. Stay sharp, stay sharp, stay sharp, and they know what that means. We want to stay sharp. Well, the only way you can stay sharp, you got to have some grit. And this is what feedback is. It's like a whetstone. Proverbs 27, as iron sharpens iron. Have you heard of this verse before? A lot of times it's like the classic verse for men's groups. Hey, in this men's group, we sharpen each other, bro. As iron sharpens iron. Why isn't that also like the theme verse for families? Because your kids and your wife know you a lot better than your buddies that you meet with for an hour once a month. Just saying. So what if we had this kind of feedback in our homes, and it's like this whetstone to make us not dull, sharp. As iron sharpens iron, you need this kind of grit, this kind of friction to make sure that the edge of your life is sharp and stays sharp. I want to be sharp in every area of my life. And so I got to have feedback. It's like a mirror. It's like a whetstone. And thirdly, it's like a compass. You know, if you're into orienteering at all, that a compass is so important to find your true north. And yet, as you're making your way through the woods, you can get just 2 degrees off. And if you're 2 degrees off, you're going to miss the mark by miles. And so we need feedback, don't we? We need to give it and ask for it. We can take lead on this and say to our trusted friends or our spouse or our kids, hey, what is life like with dad around? Give me some feedback. What don't I see? I may be 2 degrees off or 5 degrees off, and I want to miss the mark. I need your feedback in order to be true north. We need feedback. Feedback is like a compass. Hebrews 10, verse 24 says, let us spur one another on. We can practice feedback. I pray that we would in our families and our marriages, with your grandkids, with your nephews and nieces, with your teammates, with your missional community, with folks at Mission Church. Let's just get into feedback. If you want to challenge well, this is one of the ways we can challenge well. And feedback, I got to tell you, this is one of the things that literally changed my life. Feedback from a family member. That family member is my brother Justin, the one that was up here leading worship a minute ago. I was a college student at Illinois State, worshiping the false god known of as baseball. And I played for Illinois State, and my life was off the rails in every way. And I'll never forget when my brother Justin drove down to Illinois State to have a meeting with me. And he met with me, and he said, John, you know I love you. I've loved you your whole life. You know that. And I was like, yeah, I do know that. He said, and you know that God has placed me in your life to just not hold back. And I've got to give you some feedback. And he went on to give me really hard feedback for me to hear. He went on to explain to me that I was completely wasting my life. I was blowing it. I was wasting my influence. I wasn't leading any of my teammates to Jesus. The opposite was true. I was leading them away from Jesus. And he said, John, God's gifted you. He's called you to be a leader, and you're leading all these people in the wrong direction. What would happen if you'd actually do this God's way? I remember being defensive, because a lot of times I can be defensive. I remember feeling hurt because it felt hurtful. And he got in his car and he drove back home here to DuPage County. But it was amazing what God did. God took that love, that care and challenge. It became a seed of truth in my spirit that God would water. In the coming weeks and months, all of a sudden that seed of truth began to sprout out. It led to life change for me. Feedback. Do you love them? Offer it. Do you love them? Seek it out. Family as a team, this is so important that we would have this kind of environment of care and challenge. I want to finish by reading to you a passage from John chapter 8. In the moments and in the days where you're not sure how to do family, may we look to the New Testament to see and study the one who did it better than any of us ever will. His name is Jesus. No one did relationships as well as him. It says the teachers of religious law and the Pharisees brought a woman who had been caught in the act of adultery. They put her in front of the crowd. Teacher, they said to Jesus, this woman was caught in the act of adultery. The law of Moses says to stone her. What do you say? They were trying to trap him into saying something they could use against him, but Jesus stooped down and wrote in the dust with his finger. They kept demanding an answer, so he stood up again and said, all right, let the one who has never sinned throw the first stone. Verse 8, then he stooped down again. I want you to notice this phrase, stoop down. It's one of my favorite phrases in all of the Bible that reveals the heart of God for you. A lot of you in this room, you have misconceptions about who God is because you've been hurt by a lot of people that claim to follow God. This is God. This woman caught in the act of adultery, God in the flesh, Jesus Christ, he doesn't stand at a distance to condemn. What does he do? What's the phrase? Say with me, stooped down. This is Jesus in this moment caring. He stoops down on her level. Do you see this? Do you feel this? Imagine that moment. The only one who is perfect, Jesus Christ, the one without sin, the one who's building in that moment the greatest team of all time, the church. He stoops down to deliver care, shocking care, amazing care. Gets down on her level, eye to eye. He writes in the dust. When the accusers heard this, they slipped away one by one, beginning with the oldest, until only Jesus was left. Just her and Jesus. Jesus stood up again and said to the woman, where are your accusers? Didn't even one of them condemn you? She says, no, Lord. And Jesus said, neither do I. What care? Oh my goodness. But I want you to notice the challenge as well. He finishes by saying this, go and sin no more. Do you see the care and the challenge represented perfectly in the person of Jesus? This is how he did family. This is how he does family. Might we follow suit?